Welcome to the Jeffrey B. Valentine Show. Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Jeffrey B. Valentine Show. My special guest on today is Dr. Hank Hill. We'll be talking about health and wellness. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of the Jeffrey B. Valentine Show. Today's wardrobe is provided by Men Closet. Go see the fellas at Men Closet and tell them that you saw their outfit right here on the Jeffrey B. Valentine Show. God bless. Welcome back to the show. Here's my special guest, Dr. Hank Hill. How you doing, Doctor?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you, man. You know, Dr. Hill, last time you was on my program, we got a lot of calls, a lot of messages through Facebook, through email, asking you to come back on the show.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's outstanding. That's great. That's
and
great.
I thank you for coming back. And we want to dive into, we don't want to waste no time. Let's go back into the prevention of cancer.
Yeah.
So, but tell us a little bit about yourself, then we'll dive into it.
Well, you know, as a surgical oncologist, my goal is to be able to operate on patients and help them to take care of their solid organ tumors, such as breast cancer, or melanoma, colorectal, pancreas, or liver. But it's quite a unique opportunity to be able to talk about the prevention of cancer.
Yes.
Because why would a surgical oncologist who likes to operate, whose lifestyle is based upon operating, talk about the prevention? Well, I think that it covers the gamut of what an oncologist should be about. We're not looking forward to someone having to deal with a cancer. We'd like to be able to help them prevent it and have a healthy lifestyle.
Amen.
And so part of that comes with prevention and understanding early screening principles as it relates to women and for men. And I think primarily what's so important is to be able to look at what the family history is about. That is so key because that kind of helps you as an individual dictate how you would go on to a screening program, understanding, what did grandma have and grandpa have and what did my aunts and uncles have. Well, if there's a strong family history of cancer, it's important to be able to share that with your primary care physician. Years ago, it was all about people didn't know what their relatives died of because they didn't want to even hear or talk about the C word, so to speak. Yes. And or the old myths of how if someone operated on someone with cancer, when you open up the belly and the air hits it, all of a sudden the cancer spread. That's a myth that still exists today.
Are you serious?
I still have conversations about that. And, I just have to put some humor to it and just make it clear and try to help educate the family members as well as the patient that, it doesn't exist that way. It's an old tale that has been created out of a lack of education, understanding that years ago the principles of detecting cancer before someone operated on them was not very effective. And now we have imaging studies that we can do to stage a patient.
Yes, sir.
Most people presented with advanced stage of disease when they couldn't tolerate the pain anymore.
Wow.
And that's one of the things I think the audience needs to understand is that listen to your body. You know what your body is about. You know when you're not feeling well. You can tell when you have a cold. However, you can also tell when maybe you're losing weight faster than you actually intended to, or your body's symptoms of being fatigued, getting tired too fast. What does that really mean? And so understanding what signs and symptoms are about cancer is very important.
Now, do you find practicing in your practice cancer, is it increasing? Or you find yourself more African American coming in and having cancer because they're not identifying their body or not paying attention? Or we just not taking care of ourselves?
That's a good question. I think what's really important to know is that over the years, over the last decade, I think really even before that, when President Nixon decided we're going to have a war on cancer and increase the awareness about where cancer is about, there has been a lot more education about it. So individuals are seeking out for the screening examinations.
Okay.
They are talking to their physician about cancer and how can I make sure I don't have it. But then you have a population that's still very fearful. You know, there's the attitude of, well, if I don't look for it, then I'm not going to get it. Kind of mentality. And that's not even, you know, it doesn't make any sense, really.
Yes, I have a friend, Dr. Hill. He don't want to know. He said that if my body hurt, I'm just going, because he's afraid of what he might hear, the C word, cancer. Right. And that's the wrong way of looking at going by that. Am I right?
That's very true. I think what's helpful is understanding that if you go through the screening process before you have any signs and symptoms of a cancer, usually if something is found, it's a very early stage. Okay. So the earlier the stage of the disease, that means primarily confined to the organ itself and not spread to maybe lymph nodes or wherever the origin is, it's not spread to the lungs or the liver or to the brain, then you have a long lifetime to look forward to.
Well, how often should I do the screening? Once or twice a year?
The preventive services have, you know, task force has put out some recommendations. However, although the recommendations are there, it's very important to understand what your unique individual situation is. Okay. So
each case is
if we were to do something annually, that certainly is better, right?
Right.
I mean, if we have our vehicle and we're driving around it, right, and we know that we have to get an oil change done, well, I'm not going to get it done. I'll just wait until it breaks down. No, you won't do that. You actually will go and do preventive maintenance. Yeah. So that's the kind of discussion that we usually have. Right?
Okay.
That's right. It's just that, you know, things are mechanical versus things are biological.
Makes sense.
And it takes many years for the body to break down. And that breakdown process can be influenced by many things that leads to eventual cancer. It could be your genetic predisposition.
Oh, wow. Come on,
right?
Dr. Hill.
It could be what it is that you're eating, right? Mm-hmm. What you subject your body to, the stresses in life. Those are things that are very, very critical. Stress is very important. Very, very, very important factor. Because what happens is that down at the cellular level, the cells convert into a mode of being stressed and cannot produce the protective mechanisms that they have so that the DNA doesn't get mutated. Okay. See, cancer comes eventually out of DNA mutation. And we have mechanisms in our body to help to keep them from moving forward or to get rid of that cell that's trying to move into a direction of a cancer. And so ultimately, it comes stress, how we're eating, and what our lifestyle is about. Wow. Right. So if we're not exercising enough, we're going to put on the weight that's not necessary. There are some biochemical things that goes on in our body, the physiology of how our insulin works in our system. If we become insulin resistant, then we have a tendency to develop certain kinds of malignancies that way as well.
Amen. Amen. Well, Dr. Hill going to be with us throughout the year and some time. Dealing with health and wellness. And Dr. Hill, I want to ask you this also. I had one of the guys on the job, I mentioned that you was coming on the show, and he has a gut. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay, a gut. And he said that he heard that the bigger the gut, the more you're prone to have cancer. Is that true?
It's very true. It's been shown through studies that the heavier someone is, you know, when there are certain BMIs that they measure, when it goes beyond a certain extent, usually it's over 30 BMI, there's a tendency for those individuals to develop a cancer.
Okay, so just weight period, not just the midsection.
It's because of what's that symbol of that, what that physical presence means from how did you get there. Okay. Right. So it's poor eating habits. Yeah. You know, excessive amount of carbohydrates, excessive amount of sugars in the diet. Yes. All stun the immune system, creates havoc, you know, at the cellular level.
Okay. Okay. Well, we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to ask Dr. Hill, what are some of the foods that we should be staying away from? So, Dr. Hill, we'll be right back with more of the Jeffrey B. Valentine Show. Hey, thank you for watching the show. I want to give my friends a shout out at Men Closet. They provide my wardrobe for the show today. Go see the fellas at Men Closet on Lem Turner and go talk to Rocky, Pop, or Angel and tell them you saw this outfit on the Jeffrey B. Valentine Show. God bless. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm here with my special guest, Dr. Hank Hill, and he get ready to share with us what food we should stay away from.
All right. That's a great question. And I think a lot of times I get that kind of conversation, particularly after taking care of patients, operating on them, and then putting them through a big operation. They're asking me what it is that they should be staying away from and what they should be eating. And essentially, you know, God has put on this planet, you know, the resources for healthy food. Yeah. It's what happens for the commercialization and the processing of foods.
Yes.
Right? And what really hurts our body is the processed meats.
Yeah.
That's really where the danger is. Processed meat, processed sugar, you know, and there's a lot of natural things that are available out there. You know, what we have to understand about our body as man and woman is that our bodies are not really made to truly process meats in general better, as well as we do vegetables and plant foods.
Okay.
Right. Our bodies will do much better in eating the beans, fruits, vegetables, those kinds of things. Okay. You know, now certainly that doesn't mean that I stay away from a steak or some chicken and things like that, but I don't try to overload my body and tax it too much by consuming too much red meat.
Okay, I got you.
Because it's not really prepared, you know, best for our body for consumption and for conversion into healthy nutrition. That's essentially it.
Well, Dr. Hill, so what about, I have heard, I'm not sure, but we should stay away from anything that's white, like mashed potatoes, white rice, potato chips, you know, stuff like that, you know.
Well, it's when you say rice, okay, rice has some nutritional value too. It does.
White rice or brown rice?
White rice and brown rice, either or.
Okay.
Is that the brown rice will have more fiber. It will be a little bit more healthy overall in general. It's just that it's about the amount of consumption. Okay. And you have to balance it out well.
Okay, I
all
got
right?
you.
And if you stay too much on one side where it's just a lot of starches and empty starches and sugars, you're actually hurting the body because your body needs protein. And in order to utilize protein effectively, then what happens, you deteriorate at your muscle level. Okay. Then you become weaker over time from that. So really you should have in the morning, when you start your day off, it shouldn't be the bagel or the cream cheese. It should not be the donut. It should be a protein-rich meal. Okay. Right? And where the proteins are coming from, it's coming from eggs. Okay. All right. Although you hear the news about how cholesterol from eggs is so bad, then they're telling you now the cholesterol in eggs are good. Right. It's got to be from, you know, even from some of the solid food that we eat that we don't think we should have as a breakfast item. Right. Oatmeal is definitely another one that's very good. Oh, okay. Right. Oatmeal's got good minerals in it. It has good fiber in it, and it's got the protein. Wow. Right? Okay. Eating some beans in the morning for breakfast. That's right.
Like red beans?
Red beans, that's right.
Lima beans?
Exactly.
Really?
Right. That's right. And then certainly some of the fruits that are out there. Okay. That'll provide you with some good minerals as well, and they have good antioxidants in it. Okay.
What about the juices? I know you say stay away from the sugar, but it's okay. Once again, I was told that I can't drink too much orange juice, you know, because I see how you look at it. No?
Well, I think that orange juice is healthy. I do drink it. Okay. It's the commercialization of how the juices are made. Okay. It's a lot of sweeteners in it. You know, when you really look at those labels, you're going to see 35 grams of carbs per serving. And then what's the serving? The serving is like this. So could you imagine in the tall glass that we usually take? Okay. Right. So unless we are burning off that sugar right away, where's it going to go? It's going to go into storage. It's going to go in cardiovascular disease, high risk for stroke, high risk for diabetes. So, you know, having that right balance is going to be helpful. Now, when you say juicing now to juice and then juicing, that's a whole different scenario, right? Okay. Because then there are a lot of folks who are appreciating the natural sugars that come from the fruits and vegetables. And they're just acclimating their taste to that. They're not adding a lot of sugar to it in order to sweeten it up, but there are some natural sweeteners that are available.
So natural sweeteners?
Yes, that's right. And it's just you could use the sugar cane.
Oh, okay,
right?
I got you.
That's right, as opposed to using the processed sugar and the Splenda.
The Splenda, and what's the one in the pink? Y'all help me out. What's in the pink Sweet and low.
Sweet and low, that's right. Those are not the best things, because what they're doing is just satisfying the taste, the flavor. That material that's being used to create that sweetener is actually not even being metabolized in the body, and it's deposited somewhere. Right. So,
Wow.
yeah.
How we on time? I guess we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more of the Jeffrey B. Valentine Show.
Show me your glory. Oh, I want to see your face. Show me your glory.
Welcome back. My guest is Dr. Hill. Okay, Dr. Hill, I want to touch on proper exercising, but someone have a question about getting proper sleep. Is that part of a prevention? I know it may sound.
Well, I believe that, although I'm not necessarily a sleep expert, but I do understand that the body needs rest. Okay. Right? It needs time to heal. All right? And
so it can recover itself.
So it's to recover itself, exactly.
Yes.
And if we're not sleeping effectively, then our minds are not getting a chance to repair itself as well. Okay. See, people forget about some of the at the cellular level, just what goes on. And if we overexert ourselves, don't allow ourselves to get the adequate amount of sleep, we end up building up too much of the negative things at the cellular level. And what are those? Those are the oxygen-free radicals that are very damaging to the body. As we all get older, we lose the capability of getting rid of those oxygen-free radicals. And what do those radicals do? They end up hurting the cell at the DNA level. It creates DNA damage. Now, if we are able to get ourselves a chance to rest, we can recover. If we eat the right kinds of foods while we're active and while we're even sleeping, we will have our body repairing better than being damaged.
Okay.
And I think that that's very helpful for us. Yeah.
Now, how does exercising is a prevention from cancer?
All right. Well, in essence, exercising allows us to be more physically fit, but then also biochemically fit.
Okay, explain that to us.
If you could kind of break that down.
Yeah, please.
Right. If our exercise pattern, our exercise activity allows us to be strong muscularly, the heart is a muscle, and it needs to have this kind of workout just like everything else. And if we are able to do a good cardio workout where our heart is exercising with a rapid beat, so to speak, that muscle is getting stronger too. And over time, it doesn't require then your heart to beat so rapid within a minute. So say, for instance, our average heart rate may be about 80 per minute. Okay. The average person walking around. Someone who's an athlete exercising regularly, could be about 40 or 50.
Oh, really?
Right, because the heart muscle is strong and pushing out, as opposed to someone who's got a weak muscle, they got to do maybe 3 beats per that one true athletic beat. Okay. And that's why most athletes have a very low heartbeat and their blood pressure is low. And when your heart is pumping stronger, then it's getting more blood flow to the rest of the body, to the end organs such as the liver and the brain, and to the muscles that are working. And
it's important for you to have that blood flow.
That's
and
right.
Oxygen
carrying capacity with your hemoglobin, being a certain level. And what's so
I'm not a doctor, y'all. He told me that last week.
That's right. But what's also helpful, you mentioned something very important. It's about the blood flowing to the organ systems. And we are in a position where we're not eating the right kinds of foods that can also help us with that. Foods that are rich in nitrates actually then get taken into our body. It gets converted to nitrite, and then nitric oxide is produced. And what does nitric oxide do? It vasodilate at the capillary levels. So what happens, more blood flow goes to all the areas in our body that may need healing and or for optimal function.
Wow.
And one of the richest foods that are available that has high nitrates is beets.
Beets?
And I remember when your mother said, boy, eat your beets. Most people don't like eating it.
Beets?
That's right. Beet concentrate is wonderful.
Really?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Just raw?
Well, you know how they prepare them.
Right.
Right, just like that. Or you can create a beet juice. Could create a beet juice.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Now, what would you recommend? What would be your ultimate conclusion of prevention of cancer prevention? If you don't want us to see at your practice, we heard the elder say earlier that
Yeah.
he's glad that he are meeting you here instead of at your office.
That's right. That's right.
What would be your main prevention that you want to share with us?
First, there's got to be education.
Okay.
Understanding that cancer can exist in your body. And don't be in denial that, you're never going to just get cancer. You can't have that thought in your head. So what's going to be helpful is, for instance, as a man out there in the audience, what is available to help you with your screening? Well, we like to screen for prostate, and we like to be able to screen for the colon and rectum. And those are easy things to do. Digital rectal examination at your physician office can check the size of the prostate. And if you are someone who has a strong family history where your uncle, your father, an older brother has prostate cancer, well, why do you think you're going to escape that bullet? So you might as well just go ahead and get your screening examination done. A colonoscopy examination only lasts about 10 to 15 minutes, and you are asleep.
Yeah.
I used to do the colonoscopies routinely. I would tell the patient, when they're waking up, are you ready to get the colonoscopy? They said, yes, doc. I said, it's already done.
Just like
and then they just leave. And they're happy to know that they did not have a bad experience. For women, it's going to be self-breast examinations.
Okay.
At least know what your own breast feels like.
Right.
Right? There's nothing wrong with feeling your own body.
Right.
Even for men, know what your testicles feel like.
Right.
So you do testicular self-examinations. When you're in the shower, you're washing down there.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with feeling down there. All right?
Can men get breast cancer?
That's a great point. There are at least about 1,500 cases a year of breast cancer. So men, you feel a lump there, you know it's abnormal, it's getting a little painful, go ahead and get an examination by a physician. That's right.
Well, if you look on the screen, you should see Dr. Hill information. We have his address, his number. If you want more information, please give him a call, set up an appointment, and he will be gladly to give you any type of prevention.
Yes. And I'll be happy to assist you. The office number is 904-450-6305. And certainly you can always come by to the office. That's 4205 Belfort Road, Suite 3026 in Jacksonville, at St. Vincent's Southside location.
Amen. Amen. Now, I want to shift just a little bit. I want to talk about the outbreak that's going on in Nigeria and Africa.
Yes.
The spreading of Ebola.
That's the Ebola virus.
The Ebola virus. Quick, 2 questions.
Yeah.
Is it contagious by touching or by air?
All right, good question.
Okay.
Good questions. It's not been shown to be transmitted through the air.
Okay.
All right, although saliva, tears, bodily fluids,
Okay.
all right, can transmit it. You'd have to literally be very close to someone who has the Ebola virus, who's infected, in order to be able to get that infected.
Okay.
But it's not something that will transmit through the air and float around long enough to be able to get to someone who's standing 50 feet away from you.
Okay.
No, it won't happen. It's mainly bodily fluids. Now, what's interesting about bodily fluids is that if you have a male patient who has survived the Ebola virus, they have still an infective capacity through their semen.
Whoa.
So having intercourse and being a survivor of the Ebola virus, there's a certain period where the virus won't stay, but I think it's maybe about 60 days or something like that. That you should not be engaging in any intercourse.
Oh, wow.
That's
okay.
right. Because then they will infect their female partner.
So let's touch on that a little bit. How can we prevent the spreading cold, sickness, flu, diseases like that? How can we prevent, besides watching our, well, the common thing is just washing our hands, right?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, what's interesting about the Ebola virus compared to other viruses is that the Ebola virus is a very lethal virus. It's one of...
What's its origin?
Its origin is, well, that's a great question. And the research that has gone into studying where this virus occurred is actually coming from the fruit bats in Africa.
Say that again?
It's fruit bats in Africa. And that's their reservoir somehow those bats don't die from the Ebola virus. That's very interesting.
Yes, it is.
And so it got into the population because of the culture of West Africa, where they would handle the carcasses or use the fruit bats as a food source and or a soup. And of course, when handling those fruit bats, then if the bat's infected, then they have their hands and they're washing and they're wiping their eyes, and next thing you know, the human contact is then there. And then that's how the outbreaks then take place. That's right.
Wow, very education.
Yes, yes. It's an unfortunate situation. And of the family for where the Ebola virus is part of, the Marburg virus family, the Ebola virus is the most lethal one.
And that's what's taking place now?
And that's what's taking place right now. There was an outbreak that started in December 2013 in Guinea.
Yes.
And then it eventually started spreading more and more, and then was identified as a true outbreak by March this year.
Wow. So in a cure right now?
Unfortunately, there is no cure. There's no vaccination for it. Why? This virus is so lethal, you can't study it long enough in order to be able to say, hey, we'll try to have this in a lab and then try to work on it. Because somebody gets infected, that's it. The surrounding community and the whole city can get infected by it. So it's a very tough virus to study.
Okay, wow.
Now, with that being said,
yes.
You saw that there were some individuals that were flown out, the physicians that came to Atlanta, and they've survived through a treatment. Now, this is an experimental treatment that's using a statin. Now, what's a statin? We're familiar with the statins that are used for lowering cholesterol in the body. Atorvastatin is one of them. Crestor, in that family. And what has happened is that there's an experimental drug that's a statin base called MZAP. And the MZAP is in very little supply because you can't manufacture it enough. There was the use of it with those two, and that's how they're able to. Somehow, for whatever reason, they're not sure as to how it works, but it certainly works. Okay. And although those statins work in the liver, the greatest concentration of the virus, the Ebola virus, is the liver.
Wow.
So maybe there's some correlation where it cut down the reproductive process of the virus.
I see we run out of time. If you want to know more information, if you have any questions, you can do so by reaching me on my website, jbvshow.org. If you have any more questions for Dr. Hill, he will be back more often on the show. Mm-hmm. And before I let you go, I just want to offer you an invitation for Christ. If you don't have, if Jesus Christ is not in your life, you don't have a personal relationship with him, just ask God to forgive you for your sin, come into your heart and save your soul. And we believe what the word said, thou art saved. We'd like to thank you for watching. Thank you, Dr. Hill. He will be back. Yeah. And love isn't love until you give it away. God bless you. I'll see you next week.